Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Joey here again. Going to do another tobacco review on another Dunhill tobacco that I've really been looking forward to trying. And as I've mentioned before in some of my other videos, I have kind of been holding off on opening new tins of certain tobaccos that I have in my collection. I don't want to have too many of them open at one time because sometimes they'll dry out on you or whatever. So I've kind of smoked through some of my other tins that I really enjoyed. I did some reviews on those as well. But this one is another Dunhill product. I ordered, I think, 5 different types of Dunhills that I had never tried before. This particular one, actually, they quit making for quite a long time. And I believe they just reintroduced this year, but it's the Dunhill Elizabethan mixture. It is says a rich flavored blend of fine and dark Virginia tobaccos with a touch of Louisiana Perique for added zest. I looked at some of the reviews on this on tobaccoreviews.com. Came highly recommended. At any rate, I'm really looking forward to trying this one. And I believe it used to be made by Murray Brothers. This is, I think, Orlik that does like the golden sliced tobacco. It's a Scandinavian, or I want to say Denmark maybe is where it's made. The tin note or smell, definitely got that kind of Virginia sort of fermented tobacco, maybe a little bit of raisin smell, very dried hay smell to it. You can definitely tell it's loaded with Virginia. And honestly, in the tin note or smell, I'm not really detecting a lot of Perique. In fact, if I didn't know there was Perique in this, then I would say there isn't, at least from the smell. So it must be very lightly, or the Perique that they've added is not a large amount. It looks, it's a great looking tobacco. It is a ribbon cut. I'll show you here. You can see all the light and dark Virginias with, I guess the really dark stuff more than likely is that the Perique in there. Nice looking ribbon cut tobacco, which I don't smoke a lot of ribbon cuts. I typically smoke a lot of flakes, but this one I definitely wanted to try. Right out of the tin, it pretty much came, ready to smoke. It wasn't overly wet or anything like that. I did leave it sit out for, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, but you could definitely smoke this right out of the tin. I'm packing the bowl now. Packs very nicely because it's a ribbon cut. Makes it easy. I'm smoking it in my little Bjarne Nielsen Viking series, kind of a little bent billiard type pipe. It's a medium size bowl. I love this little pipe. It smokes really well. Sometimes I tend to smoke a lot of maybe the stronger tobaccos in this pipe. It's not a small bowl, it's not a large bowl, it's just kind of perfect for stronger tobaccos. This one is probably going to be more of a medium, I'm guessing, tobacco. I'm going to light it up here. And this is more of not a review actually, it's more of a first impression because I just opened this tin right before I started making this video. So more of a first impression as opposed to a full review. See it rising up in the bowl there a little bit. You can already guess this is probably going to burn pretty nicely. Most ribbon cuts do if they're not overly wet. This does not come that way, as I mentioned in the tin. It's really just about perfect right out of the tin. let's get it going and see what I think. Well, I'm loving this weather, I gotta tell you. I've been looking forward to this for months and months and months. I know people say you're crazy for complaining about warm weather, but Florida is different. At least where I live on the East Coast, I'm in southeast Florida. Heat is one thing, but the humidity that we have here is ridiculous. 2 o'clock in the morning, it's still 88 degrees and 80% humidity. The sweat's just pouring off you if you try to have a smoke outside on the patio or whatever. But I'll stop whining. Actually, I have a sign in my house for my daughter that I'll point at when she starts whining. And if you can see it over there. Yes, no whining. At any rate, I just looked at the sign, so I too will stop whining. All right. Boy, I'll tell you, again, this isn't really a review. The first impression of this, it is a good Virginia. I wouldn't really expect anything less. Like Dunhill just doesn't use inferior quality tobacco, so there's already no question it was going to be a decent tobacco leaf that they make this with. But boy, that Virginia dried hay, taste is definitely there. I'm also getting a slight hint of maybe lemony taste, citrusy. Not like over the top. I mean, barely there. I think somebody told me that's the bright Virginias. I'm no palate expert. I sometimes have a hard time even describing what I'm tasting, but I definitely get a very slight citrus. Also that obvious quality Virginia hay, straw, flavor that I love from Virginias, or a good Virginia. Takes light very nicely. And I got to tell you, if there is not a lot of Perique in this, right now it's just, I mean, barely there, barely. Maybe as this smokes down, the Perique will become more apparent. That happens to me sometimes with Virginia blends with a little bit of Perique in there. I'm very sensitive to Perique. It'll actually make me sneeze if it's a heavy Perique blend. It feels like almost like spicy, sort of almost hot, like a ground black pepper feel on my tongue or taste. This, it's barely evident now. But I can tell you, I already like this stuff. The room note, it's acceptable. I think my better half wouldn't throw me out for smoking this in the living room. I like it. It's my day off today, so I'm just enjoying a nice, relaxing pipe. Just finished doing a little yard work since the weather's so nice. Makes it a lot easier. But just enjoying not being at work and not having to think about too much. So I figured I'd make a pipe tobacco review video. I know I was talking to Adam, if you haven't noticed, Adam Grieve and I kind of banter back and forth quite a bit. He's a character. Makes some very good tobacco reviews also. But at any rate, he lives in a big city there across the pond in the UK. I think it's actually London. So we kind of bitch back and forth once in a while about the nonsense that we're surrounded by in our respective locations. And it's no different no matter where you live. I guess anywhere around a big city has its share of problems. So I made a video the other day, kind of more for Adam, to show him, you know, we have the same nonsense going on over here in the United States as you do, Adam, over there in the UK. But we kind of wind each other up, kind of maintaining a sense of humor about some of the nonsense that goes on. But we'll get each other all spooled up with all the different names, you know, we come up with for these people wandering the streets, you know, the crackheads and prostitutes and all the other stuff. But at any rate, that video I made the other day was very unconventional for me. I don't usually make videos like that, but it was more or less to show this kind of thing exists everywhere. And it's kind of sad, really, you know. I know a lot of the homeless issues that we have here, a lot of them are veterans, you know, that find it hard to cope coming back. And, you know, I have the utmost respect for our military veterans. They're way up here. So anytime I see, you know, those guys that are homeless, we try to help them out any way I could. But those weren't the people that I was referring to in the video or whatever. It was more of these crackheads that steal anything that's not bolted down. And if it is bolted down, they'll figure out a way to steal it anyhow. They'll steal the copper plumbing out of the walls of people's houses when they're not home. Steal the copper out of air conditioning units that are outside. Man, they'll steal awnings right off people's hurricane awnings. They can sell for scrap to pay for their next fix there. But it does get old, you know, and there's really no answer to it, no solution. I guess if there were, we wouldn't be having that problem. But at any rate, Adam, that stuff goes on everywhere, you know, the scumbags, you know, miscreants, you know, the whores, thieves. It's everywhere, especially around big cities. Out in the country here, and I'm sure it's exactly the same in the UK, you don't obviously have those problems. So that's why I prefer living not in an actual big city, but at least on the outskirts. I prefer being out in the country. But at any rate, way off topic again, but this Elizabethan mixture, so far, I mean, it is good stuff. It's very straightforward. Nothing super complex. And again, I have not, this is my first bowl of this, so I really can't give it a proper review. I have no clue what it's going to, I've only smoked maybe a quarter of it there, half at the most. But I'll tell you, it's very smooth. It's got a fairly full body to it. It's not rich. Puts out a nice quantity of smoke. Very creamy. And I can tell as this is burning down, it's getting more and more creamy. That it's very typical with good Virginias. Towards the bottom of the bowl, it gets almost buttery. And so far, I really like this stuff. So maybe I'll give it a proper review when I go through half a tin or so, or whatever. But I can already tell, I definitely, there's nothing bad here. No tongue bite. Again, very little Perique. If somebody doesn't get along with Perique, you'd probably still be okay with this. I feel it a little bit, but just very slight, very slight. At any rate, I hope everybody's doing really well. hope everything's going, very well for everybody, and everybody's able to make their way without too many problems. They always come up, but they're just temporary for the most part. So again, I hope everybody's doing well, and I will see you the next time.